Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first OutLoud Culture Podcast. I'm Alex Shannon. I'm an editor for the site. You probably haven't seen me doing a whole lot on the surface, but trust me, I'm around.
And I'm Zach Smith. You probably know me better as Vlad Pavlov. I write mainly in the movies and TV section. So you probably see me around there quite often, actually. But been taking a little bit of a break, but I'm back for this.
Yep, and as the title would suggest, we're here to talk about the recently aired Supergirl.
Which, might I add, we both weren't big fans of. So if you come for positiveness, this isn't the place.
Yeah, we had somebody who was going to offer his positive opinion, but unfortunately he dropped out.
Yeah.
So, let's just go ahead and start on what I thought was the most egregious thing I saw. The fact that the opening CG looks like it was lifted directly from Man of Steel.
Yeah, they really tried to trick you into believing it was Man of Steel with everything from Superman's suit to covering his face. They tried to make you think that it was part of the DC movie universe, and they really tried to trick you with that, and yeah.
Yeah. And it's all just kind of weird, you know, because when Supergirl lands on Earth, a pair of arms and blue sleeves come and rip the stuff off her, rip the canopy off her ship. But we never actually, and it's implied to be Superman, but we never actually see him. Yeah. We always just see his arms or him flying off.
And one thing I did notice, I was looking something up about this, they never mention either Superman or Kal-El or Clark Kent. They always say your cousin, his cousin, him, he. They never mention him exactly.
Yeah, I could have sworn they actually said Kal-El at the beginning, but never once after that.
Yep, it was never brought up. No, none of his identities, no anything. It was always him, cousin, yeah.
Yeah, so if you have no idea what relation Kara has to Superman, you have no idea what the hell's going on.
Yeah. They say the House of El, but if you probably don't know if they're cousins, you don't know what the House of El is to begin with, so.
Yeah. And, aside from the fact that they obviously couldn't spring for Henry Cavill to be Superman, yeah. They also obviously couldn't spring for Lawrence Fishburne or Amy Adams as Perry White and Lois Lane, respectively. So,
yep.
Naturally, Supergirl works for a completely different news outlet.
But Jimmy Olsen's still there, and he's not cast as the Jimmy Olsen from Batman vs. Superman, whose name I can't remember at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But they now have an older guy who's somehow, for some reason, leaves the Daily Planet to go work for a smaller company that's outside of Metropolis.
Well, supposedly that was because Clark told him to.
Yeah, I think that was just a way to shoehorn in a character. That's pretty much all it is.
Yeah. I remember when I first heard that this was going to be set, supposedly set sometime after Man of Steel, but when they weren't going to have any superheroes having arrived since then.
Yeah, that was very questionable just to begin with there. Because we already know that from Batman vs. Superman, that Batman has already been well established, and and then we have all these and then we have all these other shows. I know they're not part of the continuity, neither is Man of Steel or anything, but we have all these other shows with Flash and Arrow and all these guys coming back.
Oh, Flash, Arrow, and Constantine, do exist in the same universe as Supergirl.
Do they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're going to be doing crossovers between them.
I know a lot of the same people worked on it, but I thought I heard that this was not part of the same universe.
No, one of the guys who works on the Flash said they're working on something like that with them. It's not going to be this season, but it's going to be like next season.
Yeah, kind of like the Flash Arrow crossover.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I didn't know that. That's. I hope the show gets better before then.
Yeah, otherwise it's just going to be like all those Torchwood crossovers in Doctor Who.
Oh my god, yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a different story right there.
Yeah, that's a different podcast, right, in and of itself.
Yeah. But the thing that stood out to me most was besides, I'll bring this up later, but the whole feminist thing,
Oh
where
God.
they had to make sure that we knew that this was a female superhero, but we'll get to that later. Is
Yeah.
the acting was atrocious. The main villain, I don't even know his name. That's how little I cared. His acting was absolute garbage.
I know. I mean, he was.
And
It
his
was. Go
and
ahead.
his lines that he had to say were absolute garbage too.
It was
You
like.
could just tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, go
It was like they were trying to do Albert Wesker, but less interesting.
ahead. Yeah. I mean, like, one of the first things he says is, like, the female got in the way or something, and it's just, you're like, oh my god. Just the way that he says it, and you could tell he's not even trying, and he's trying to do this growl imitating voice, and it's just, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if is he supposed to be from Krypton?
I think that was the whole thing, because they said that her mother imprisoned him in the Phantom Zone, which, again, that makes no sense how they skipped the Phantom Zone, because that's not supposed to happen, but yeah, whatever. That's the whole point of the Phantom Zone.
Yeah. So they said, he said on my planet females kneel before the males, but the thing is, that doesn't happen on Krypton.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that till now, yeah. So maybe he was just, I don't know, charged on Krypton, I don't know.
If he was, then the Kryptonians are a stand-in for the Green Lantern Corps now. Which is another question. Where the hell is the Green Lantern Corps?
They've made references to them in The Flash and everything, but they've never actually showed them. Like, we see Ferris Airfield in, like, the very first episodes of Flash, and I was hoping that could lead us to a series, because I know you can't see it right now because we're not on video, but I'm wearing a Red Lantern shirt. I'm a huge Green Lantern Corps fan, so...
Oh, yeah. Kyle Rayner's my favorite Green Lantern.
Yeah, he's amazing. But yeah, I'm hoping that they'll eventually do a Green Lantern series. But
no Green Lanterns at all, even though they're the guys that are supposed to be dealing with the intergalactic criminals and stuff like that.
Yep. No Manhunters, no nothing. And like I said, they've barely made references to them in the other shows.
Yeah, and no Martian Manhunter, no...
Man hasn't made a reference to him in anything.
Yeah. Oh, Red Tornado is going to be in this series.
Oh my god, I saw the concept art for him. He looks so terrible.
Yeah, it looks like they tried to cross him with Hellboy.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be a villain.
Yeah, I was reading contradictory reports where some saying he was Tiomaro, some was saying he was created by Tiomaro to be good and then went evil, when that's the exact opposite of what he's supposed to do. He was created as evil and would turn good to join the JLA.
Right.
So I don't understand what story they're going with this. I'm completely lost of if he is Tiomaro or if he's an actual robot like he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure the show will make it that long. Yeah.
Well, I started the hashtag campaign, cancel Supergirl. Also.
I'll have to get in on that. It's bad. Either cancel or get new writers.
Oh, yeah.
Those writers were so bad.
Yeah. It's like they, you remember the boss lady, right? It's like they were trying to make a gender swap Perry White, except with a bit of
more like dickishness.
Yeah, with a bit of J. Jonah Jameson and stuff for good measure.
Let's just combine everybody. Every big boss you could think of, put him in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't like her. Like, she's made to be just that dickish boss, and
absolutely no depth whatsoever.
Yeah, her character is terribly written. It's just one-dimensional, and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
Oh, it's just Oh.
Well, I was just about to mention one thing that kind of bugged me. Why is her costume bulletproof?
Yeah, they never really explained that, how the guy can create bulletproof costumes and capes and all this, and he's just a normal guy. He works, what did they say, he works IT or something?
Yeah.
And he's able to make all these intricate costumes, and we also don't know much of their relationship to figure out why she was the only people she's ever told about that.
Yeah,
that's the part that bothered me most.
Yeah, I made this point when I was discussing this with Alexander Trevini on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who don't know, Alexander Trevini is a guy who writes for LLC.
Yeah, he's supposed to be in on this, but last second things,
Yeah. I made this point when I was discussing this with him on Twitter that they could have made an entire series. Well, they could have made at least 1 or 2 seasons out of her getting to where she is now.
Yeah, they just kind of threw us into it, expecting us to understand and be excited about it, and yeah.
Yeah. Another thing that bugged me about that. Okay, he can create bulletproof costumes, but not bulletproof capes.
Yeah, but notice at the end she got a Superman's cape or the baby blanket, which is supposed to be unpenetrable or whatever. So yeah.
Okay, another thing. Why didn't she train with Clark for all that time?
Yeah, I didn't get that part either. Like, she was brought to Earth and she was just being a normal person, and all of a sudden she's like, okay, I just want to be a hero, and just does it.
Yeah.
And that's one of the parts that really bothered me. One of the very feminist lines in it is when she's fighting the big bad guy. She goes, or the big military guy goes, she's not strong enough. And her sister goes, why? Yeah. And her sister goes, why? Because she's a girl? It's like, no, because she's not been trained her whole life like this guy has. This guy was a hardened criminal and has the same powers.
Mm-hmm.
That's why she's not strong enough, because she's never trained. She's never done this before.
And if she had been training, she would have been as strong as Superman, because that's what Kara's supposed to be.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that there will be some more, but based on the whole fact that we're not even seeing Superman's face or even hearing his name, I don't think we're going to have like a training thing with him, I mean.
Yeah, well, considering the fact that there was, the thing at the place with all the lead where she was getting beat up by Axeman guy.
Yeah, whoever his name was.
Yeah, whatever his name was. When she was getting beat up by him, where was Clark? Her life was in danger. Why didn't he come help her?
Yeah, let's just... And the thing that bothered me most about that is, we got the Deus Ex Machina with the helicopters coming in right before she dies. Why is he running from the helicopters?
Yeah.
He's basically immortal. A rocket's not going to affect him. We've seen Superman get shot by, like, all these military weapons and everything, and he just shrugs it off.
Yeah.
This guy should have the same exact thing. Why is he running?
I mean, okay. Not S.H.I.E.L.D., which is just what I'm going to call them. Not S.H.I.E.L.D.
Or not Task Force or anything like that, yeah.
Yeah. Has kryptonite bullets, but he doesn't know that. Or at least we won't know enough to know he doesn't know that.
Well, they've never used them except for on Supergirl.
Which didn't make any sense.
Yes, they could have just said, hey, come on over here. I mean, your sister works for us. You could have just been like, hey, come on, we need you. Yeah, but no, we have to trap you and handcuff you
and risk people's lives because
by catching a building on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get it. That whole setup was just messed up, and it's kind of like that way to give you a secret character that really we all kind of saw coming.
Yeah, I mean, Hank Henshaw is one of the, this is just my experience with him. I think he's one of the best possible villains you could have for Superman.
Yeah.
And he is a complete and utter,
he's useless in this.
He's useless, yes. He is, the extent of his character is not Nick Fury.
Yeah, not Viola Davis, the other, yeah, when she's playing. Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's basically who he is.
Yeah.
He set this whole thing up, and then he's just kind of there.
Mm-hmm.
He's calling shots and saying, like, anti-everything, anti-Supergirl, anti-Alien, yeah.
Absolutely no explanation of his motivations.
Yeah, none of these characters had any depth. Like, they're all one-dimensional. They're all terrible. Even Supergirl's pretty one-dimensional.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I made this comment on Twitter. This is not Linda Danvers. This is Linda Danvers from Act of God.
Yeah. I know there was a couple of Act of God references in there, I think, if I remember right. I can't remember them all. I literally just watched this right before we recorded this. I can't remember half of it. It's that bad.
Yeah. There was 3 moments where Superman should have shown up, but didn't. And supposedly, the reason why there haven't been any other superheroes is because Superman's the only one they need, which is just, I don't get that. Because
Which again, if they're trying to connect, if they're trying to create the illusion that this is connected to the Man of Steel universe, it doesn't make any sense because we know the heroes exist. So, or if they're trying to make us connect to Arrow and Flash, we know these superheroes exist.
Right.
But Superman doesn't exist in those universes, so it's really confusing if you're trying to universe build.
Yeah. This is what I've always said about DC's. This is what I've always said about DC is that there is, to a casual fan, there is hardly any kind of cohesion. You know, they don't actually tell you which comic series is Elseworlds and which isn't, and just by looking at it.
And then we had the Flash this season where they had the alternate universe with Jay Garrick coming in, and unless you're an actual hardcore comic fan, you're gonna have no idea what's going on there with the original Flash.
Right.
So, like, that's one thing I'll say for Marvel. I'm not a huge Marvel fan. I mean, I like some of their stuff, but again, different podcast. But they at least tie everything together. It's all one coherent story, and we know what's going on. Whereas with the DC universe, they have the movie universe, and they have the TV universe, and they have an alternate TV universe, and they have the prequel TV universe with Gotham, and
which may or may not have any connections to anything else in the series.
Yeah, because we saw Queen Consolidated in one of the episodes, and the Gotham skyline.
Yeah, and but yeah, there was. Let me name off the 3 times when Superman should have shown up that he didn't. The plane crashing.
Yes, because that's what Superman does. We all know that. Even Jimmy Olsen made a reference to that. You know, that was the first thing he did was save a plane, which might add they had to put that in there just so she could have that scene, which is Superman.
Yeah. Then there was the time Kara was getting beaten up, but right before Not Shield showed up in their helicopters.
Yep, when the axe is literally right to her face.
Then there was the final battle at the end of the episode. Her life was still in danger.
Which actually made no sense when you think about that entire thing was,
Go ahead.
Whole final battle.
Go ahead and explain that if you want.
Well, basically, what they come to the conclusion of is that the axe, if it's superheated, it'll explode. So she manages to trap him, thinking that she's weak enough. So he swings the axe at her face, and she grabs it and uses her heat vision on it, and it explodes in her hand, and in his hand, I mean.
Yeah.
So first off, that thing was so close to her face that the explosion should have hurt her.
Right.
Because it was closer to her than it was to him.
Right.
And somehow that just makes him give up. Like, she didn't really beat him. He's like, oh, stab, he's dead. He killed himself because of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that literally didn't make a lick of sense.
No. So one thing that I will give for it, and it's a subtle thing that really helps with the whole glasses thing, the Superman, how do people not know it's Superman if he's just not wearing his glasses? But it's very subtle. I don't think most people noticed it, is when they're going over, after she first saves the plane, the pictures are taken, and they're in the Tribune, which is the place she works at.
Yeah, and then she's slouching down to try and make herself look less.
That.
Yeah.
It's very subtle. I like that, because you don't see enough of that. You saw it in Christopher Reeve. You saw that between Clark Kent and Superman.
Mm-hmm.
You saw that transition, but we don't get it too much with Henry Cavill because we haven't had that opportunity.
Well, because he's never actually had a separation between Superman and Clark Kent.
We didn't get Clark Kent until the very, very end. So we did. So hopefully we'll see that in the future. But yeah, I did like that when they said 5'9" and she slouched to make herself kind of shorter. And I did like that part. I feel like we needed that. But other than that, I don't like anything else.
I didn't, another thing. She was, they might not have been able to get, not everybody might have been able to get good pictures of her, but everybody should have known who she was almost immediately.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not like she did a good job of disguising herself, and I don't see how there wasn't a good picture, but that we saw there was a helicopter light on her. We saw the entire bridge full of people. Somebody got a good shot of her.
You saw the fact that she was walking around without a mask on afterwards in her costume.
And they had a very clear shot of her from the bank.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And they
even showed it to her boss, and she's standing right in front of her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the only reason Jimmy Olsen knows that that's her is because of Kal-El, Clark.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, Yeah. It's even worse than the whole Superman glasses thing.
Yeah, even worse than that is when you don't have the glasses excuse.
Yeah, but there's literally no excuse to not recognize her.
Yeah.
They don't even try to give a reason.
Also, why did they mention the Super Friends?
Did they? I didn't even catch that.
They mentioned the Super Friends. Yeah. They made a reference as if Kara was part of the Teen Titans.
Did they?
At some point. Yeah.
Jeez, that's how little I paid attention.
They made this out of nowhere reference to Kara being part of a Teen Titans like group in the past. And what's his name, IT guy, knowing something about it, even though we've got absolutely no idea who the Teen Titans are in this universe. Or
yes, well, supposedly they're working on a Teen Titans series, but it keeps getting a Titan series. I think it's not a Teen Titans; it's a Titan series,
right?
Where it just keeps getting thrown out, and there's rumors about it and everything. But that's a whole another story again.
Yeah, and another thing: if Batman's not around, why are the Titans here?
Yeah, because we obviously need Dick Grayson there, who's Robin, and
right.
Dick Grayson's not Robin without Batman.
And another thing. There have been no other superheroes, so why was there a previous superhero team?
Exactly. I mean, I know in I think it's Arrow, they make a reference to Bloodhaven, which is the town that Dick Grayson as Nightwing protects.
Yeah.
So if we are trying to combine these universes, which, again, that's complicated,
mm-hmm.
then we know that there obviously was a Dick Grayson, so there's obviously a Batman somewhere. There's also a Ra's al Ghul, so, yeah.
Yeah, you can't have Batman without Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah. Because you need that League of Assassins.
Mm-hmm. But, like you were saying, and it doesn't mesh.
Not at all. They're trying to draw parallels where there shouldn't be parallels. They're trying to trick you into believing it's part of a different series, or it's part of the TV series universe, or it's part of the movie universe, and
mm-hmm.
like they're really trying to trick you with the few shots we have of Superman that it's Henry Cavill's Superman.
Right.
The suit we see of him when he's holding her arm as a little kid, it's obviously Henry Cavill's suit. It's supposed to look
mm-hmm.
like that. It has the same pattern, the same color. It's supposed to look like it's him, and even the silhouette looks more like Henry Cavill's silhouette.
Yeah. But supposedly, and this is something that I've just heard recently, this is another pseudo-sequel to Superman 2.
Oh my god, there's so many.
That hasn't been confirmed. That's just what people are saying. Thing is like, well, this is obviously a pseudo sequel to Superman 2 because it's got all these same, but the thing is, General Zod is a woman.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was supposed to be Zod or not. Like, the coat of arms looked like the Zod symbol. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Is there a different Zod that I don't know about? And they called her niece, and I was confused by that.
Yeah, okay.
It might add they brought that up twice, and the second time they made it like it was a big secret.
Yeah.
The first time, yeah, go ahead.
Well, they kept going on about the general. What's the only Kryptonian general, that has a beef with Superman? It's
exactly.
General Zod.
But General Zod only hates Superman because of Jor-El.
Right. And
so Clark, I don't see... Yeah,
Clark already killed General Zod back in Man of Steel. So if this is supposed to be a sequel to Man of Steel, then why is Zod alive again, and why is he a woman?
Yeah, I mean, it's so confusing.
Or is this his sister?
Yeah, but again, I don't know my comics all that well. Like, I know pretty good, but I don't know well enough. As far as I know, Zod does not have a sister.
Yeah, I would go ahead and bet that this is just something they've made up, along with Kara's sister, because Kara didn't have a sister.
Yeah, they just wanted to get that sister bonding in there that really didn't work, first off.
Yeah, I mean, the sister, her being so much of a massive, whiny baby.
Yeah.
Just like Kara was.
And her acting is pretty terrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was confusing Carol Danvers with, Carol Danvers from
Marvel.
From Marvel.
I was doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Because I kept going Danvers. I'm like, isn't that Miss Marvel?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that really confused me. Why because they didn't use her real Because she doesn't go by Kara Danvers in the comic
No,
universe.
she goes by Linda Danvers.
Exactly, which is confusing.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I really thought that they were trying to do, though, is they tried to make her like Felicity Smoke from Arrow. That's what I kept feeling.
I haven't actually watched Arrow, so I wouldn't know that, but
okay, yeah.
I'll take your word for that.
Like, she's this kind of nerdy girl, and she's quick-witted and stuff like that. And I felt like they pretty much just copy-pasted the character, just toned her down just a little bit. She even has the same look with the glasses, the scrunched-up hair, the dresses. So yeah, I mean, it's just kind of...
Mm-hmm.
I felt like they just copy-pasted a character and toned it down to where we don't even really like her as much, and...
Well, you know.
So yeah.
That's the big thing, is that it's just trying to ape other better shows.
In hopes that it can get better, or hopes that it'll get better ratings, I guess would be the word.
And then you've got this so much positive response to it.
Is there really? Everything I've heard said it's garbage.
So,
Yeah, I remember the episode leaked, 4 months ago?
yeah.
And everybody even then was saying it was garbage.
Well, the thing is that it's gotten massive ratings for some reason. And they're saying, yeah. Let me go ahead and pull this up. Supergirl ratings.
Yeah, I actually haven't heard anything good about it, but again, I only know from like what Reddit and Vote and people like them say, so I haven't actually looked at critics' ratings.
Well, you know, I'm a critic and I say it sucks. Yeah, we're looking at this right here. Her Supergirl premiere ratings strong, best for any new show.
Oh my god, really?
I mean, I know we've got a slim pickings for good shows premiering this year, but my god. Okay. Yeah, mostly
Yeah, I have no
positive
idea.
reviews from Variety.com.
Really? Like I said, I just watched it. I can't remember half of it. It was so bad. Well, you don't know the main villain's name, or I guess he's supposed to be the main villain, even though he's there.
Yeah.
They mention it like twice, and you forget it instantly. All the acting is incredibly bad. I think the only one that's really that good was the guy playing Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah.
And he's barely in it.
You know, I was going to say that give him his own show.
Yeah, I liked him. He seemed to be a good character, and he's very smart and very resourceful.
Yeah.
And he's like the only character I really liked. I didn't even like Supergirl.
Yeah, and that's, you know, I didn't like Supergirl either, and Linda Danvers is one of my favorite characters.
Yeah. I mean, they ruined everything. I honestly hope this show gets better, because I think it has a lot of potential if they do everything right.
Mm-hmm.
But first off, they need new writers.
Yeah. Oh, did you notice that the Gotham Twitter account didn't actually post anything promoting the Supergirl show?
No, I didn't, but I don't follow Gotham because I watched like the first half of the season and I thought it completely ruined everything Batman, so I stopped watching it.
Yeah, I've essentially been hearing that too, and that it started out kind of good, but then got kind of bad.
Yeah, the first episode they really try to force references down your throat. Then they start getting good. Then they really start to force everything, and it gets bad. Anyway.
Yeah. So, I remember somebody brought up, you know, the Superman and the Kryptonians have this force field thing around them that protects their clothing, but you know, if that's what's happening, why did her cape get so shot up, and why didn't they establish that, you know?
Yeah, they did a bad job of establishing the character and how she works. And she said that she says, like, I haven't flown in a while.
Yeah.
So did she just fly around as a kid, or how did that work out?
Yeah,
Was she, like, doing the superhero stuff as a kid in front of everybody, or did she not do it since she was on Krypton, which, from what we've seen in Man of Steel, they can't do that on Krypton?
Yeah. You just reminded me of something. The Kryptonite, there is absolutely no reason for them to have kryptonite.
Yeah. I mean, kryptonite doesn't even exist in the movie universe yet.
Right. And another thing, General Zod and her people,
who we're assuming is General Zod.
Yeah, who we're assuming is General Zod. But apparently, even though they've literally just come out of the Phantom Zone, they know about the they know about no. Hang on. Back in the beginning of the show, what's her name? Kara's parents knew that Earth's sun would give them superpowers.
Would give them powers, yes.
But you go back to Man of Steel, Zod didn't know that.
Well, no, but Jor-El did, because Jor-El says at the beginning of Man of Steel.
He did?
Yeah, he says that, because remember he says something about his cells are drinking up the radiation. He goes, she'll be a freak, or his mom goes, he'll be a freak or something like that. And he goes, no, he'll be a god to them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, they do bring that up in Man of Steel. But Zod seemed to not really understand that all that much.
Well,
I don't know.
You know, Jor-El was a scientist.
Yeah, and Zod was a general.
Yeah, Jor-El was a scientist and a rebel. He was holding stuff back.
Yeah.
So, okay, now that you say that, it makes more sense that his family would know about it.
So, here's something. You remember the ship that Superman gets in Man of Steel, the one that he finds in the Arctic?
Mm-hmm.
Remember there's a scene where there's all these pods and there's one open. Remember that?
Yeah.
The comic tie-in says that was the ship that his cousin, Supergirl, was out on.
Yeah.
And that everybody was saying that was a reference, that open pod was a reference to Supergirl getting out. Mm-hmm. But in this, we see that she got locked in the Phantom Zone and was brought out and was found somewhere out after Superman had already revealed himself, and he's the one that rescued her. So, again, that's another reason it can't tie in.
Yeah.
Plus the whole, I even forget the IT guy's name, but her friend.
Let's call him not Jimmy Olsen. That's what he is.
Not Jimmy Olsen, yeah. Where he says something about aliens existing. Well, again, if this is this Man of Steel universe, we know that aliens exist from Zod and Superman running around.
Well, yeah, this is something that happens all the time. Power Rangers Dino Charge does something else, because last season there was an alien invasion, but now everybody's acting like this is all new. So
yeah, and Doctor Who does that too, but they have reasons for that.
They have reasons for that.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get to those reasons, but we saw nothing of it in the pilot.
Mm-hmm.
I do think this has, like I said, I think it has some potential, if not a lot.
Yeah.
They just need to get new writers, get a new showrunner, it looks like.
Maybe not try and introduce all these original characters.
Yeah. But I think the problem is we're running out of villains already.
Yeah, that's General Zod's going to be introduced next episode.
Yeah, I mean, the Flash has already introduced us to almost the entire Flash's rogue gallery. Gotham has almost all of the Batman villains. Arrow has a bunch of other Batman villains.
Yeah, because Green Arrow apparently doesn't have any villains.
Yeah, so they just borrow Ra's al Ghul and Deathstroke, and yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. And then, they taking Zod. I'm surprised we haven't seen any. I'm honestly surprised we haven't seen a Lex Luthor reference already.
There were LexCorp buildings and trucks in Man of Steel, but
Yeah, I didn't see one in Supergirl though.
No, I didn't see anything of that. And it could be one of those background elements that you just sort of miss.
Yeah, like Queen Consolidated in Gotham. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's just like on a building. Yeah, I was looking. Well, kind of looking. I didn't see any. It was more fun to look at the background than it was to watch the actual show.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing is just a mishmash, and they're trying too hard to. I can't even. Yeah.
Well, that's the kind of thing you have to do when you try and pack an entire season's worth of content into a single episode.
Yeah, like I usually don't. like, I don't hate origin stories. I know a lot of people hate on Man of Steel for that, for being an origin story,
Right.
and they're trying too hard. I don't hate origin stories, so I would rather see us spending more time building the characters than just throwing us into the middle of something that we have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, that's something that I really don't like about a lot of things that they do. They go for way too much of a compressed storytelling kind of thing rather than, developing everything naturally.
They want us to throw us right into the action and get to the good scenes without giving us any real substance to the characters, and because of this, we get one-dimensional characters like we do in almost every single person in this show already.
Yep.
Maybe we'll see an evolution, but right now I'm doubting it.
Yeah. I'll just go ahead and say this. If this show doesn't get better, it'll just be one more thing to add to the pile of terrible TV shows.
Yeah.
It'll be just one more thing DC has done wrong lately.
I think this is why DC is not going with a connected movie and TV universe like Marvel is doing. Because if one of their TV shows fails, it's going to bring down the entire franchise.
Yeah.
Like, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. wasn't doing that good for a while, and it was really bringing down Marvel. And with DC trying so many more shows, if they connected them, if one failed, it would really cause a problem. And Supergirl looks like it's going to be its first major failure.
Yeah. Because that's the thing about Marvel's connected universe is that, Captain America 3 looks like it's going to be, just by the fact that it's Civil War, it looks like it's going to be completely terrible.
I was looking forward to it, but then things were brought up, and I'm just kind of like, But again, that's different story, different podcast. But
and and like you said, that can bring down an entire franchise.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one thing I think DC did smart, even though I'd like to see Stephen Amell as a Green Arrow in the movie universe. I think he's great. He's amazing. I'd love to see that. It's really just if they combine them all, first off, we'd have to see all these TV shows to catch up with the movies, like perhaps do with Marvel.
Yeah.
Or if you watch Avengers 2, the intro sequence makes no sense if you haven't seen Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And it's just all that interconnectivity. And
yeah.
So I think that's where you don't have to watch every single thing to catch up with just the movies. I think the movies will now be able to stand on their own in the DC universe.
That's a good thing, but, they're also...
Yeah, to the casual viewer, when they're watching all these TV shows and they don't know that they're not all part of the same universe, it gets really, really confusing.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that they're shoving in Batman, they're shoving in Wonder Woman, they're shoving in Aquaman and possibly
Cyborg
and possibly Green Lantern as well.
Yeah. All into one movie.
All into one movie. It looks like it's going to wind up, all these heroes fighting what?
Yeah, it's just going to be a giant mishmash of, yeah.
I mean, are they going to be fighting each other? Are they going to be fighting, like, one single villain? Or
it's like they're trying to make their own Civil War into this one movie, even though we haven't established any of the characters. So hopefully it's not what's going to happen.
It's like
hopefully they're just going to have cameos or... Mm-hmm. Like, I'm okay with cameos or references because Man of Steel did a lot of references. You can really catch up.
Yeah, Man of Steel did, and Iron Man and the Avengers did.
And then once you get to Iron Man 2, they just straight up decide to just throw everything in. So, yeah.
So, do you have anything else you want to say about Supergirl?
I think we hit on why it's so... Okay, I brought this up earlier, so I had to bring it up. We kind of hit on it. The feminist agenda that they really try to push in this.
Yeah.
I'm not an anti-feminist, obviously, because that would be terrible. But they really try to push out that this is a female superhero, and this should be happy for women, and yay, and they just push it so hard. They shove it down your throat every chance they get a time, and it's just,
yeah.
Every time they get a chance, yeah.
Okay, now that you say that, I remember once Kara finds out that they're calling her Supergirl.
Yeah, she gets very pissed.
Storms into the boss woman's office and says, isn't this anti-feminist? And I was like, how?
Yeah, and I'll give it this, is that they defended it with the boss character.
Yeah.
She goes, I'm a girl, I'm powerful, I'm rich, I'm hot, yeah. She goes, I'm a girl. She goes, this is okay. Not calling her Superwoman isn't anti-feminist, and I'll give them that part. But just that whole thing with her having to go in there and being like, Supergirl's anti-feminist, and being like, oh, she can't fight him because she's a woman, and they try to just shove that down your throat.
Yeah, it's like the people who wrote it have no idea who Supergirl is.
Yes, they don't know that she's as powerful as Superman.
Right.
But part of that is because she has been trained to fight, where in this she has not.
Right.
This, they just throw her in, and we were expected to believe she's just suddenly as powerful as Superman.
Yeah, and I remember Dan was saying this. Daniel.
I forget his last name. Trovey or something.
Daniel. No, that's Alexander Trevino.
Yeah, it starts with an R.
Daniel Rochelle.
He
was saying that this series understands Superman more than Man of Steel did. I would disagree with that.
Yeah, I completely disagree with that.
Because in order to explain why Superman isn't helping her or hasn't trained her or hasn't done anything with her since he dropped her off the Danvers a decade ago.
Yeah, he just kind of abandoned her.
You have to accept that Superman is a massive jerk in this universe.
Yeah, basically, he just dropped her off, and he sent someone else to go look after her with Jimmy Olsen.
I mean, that's very Frank Miller of them.
Yes. Which I understand we're going with the Frank Miller type universe here, but still.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just, he kind of just left her, never spoke to her again. Never gave her any guidance of what she's supposed to do.
Yeah, I mean...
And just sent one of his friends over to look after her and give her gifts and never talk to her again. Which I understand that we have to do this because we don't have a Superman and they're trying to make the illusion that this is connected to the movie universe. But at the same time...
Yeah.
It really ruins the character of Superman.
Yeah, and, now that we've essentially... covered the Supergirl stuff, let's go ahead and use this to transition into Man of Steel now, shall we?
Yes, that's what I was looking forward to. Which I don't know where you stand on this, but I defend this movie till almost the end. I understand there's some things that are bad about it, but I defend this movie.
Same here.
Oh, man. I was really hoping to get Alexander in here, because I know he hates Man of Steel.
If we could have gotten Dan in here, we could have had a 2-in-1, somebody who likes Supergirl and doesn't like Man of Steel.
I know. Yeah, I was really hoping to get them in here so that we could really get into like a real fight about this.
Yeah, because I know that controversy sells. So. Yep.
Speaking of controversy, the most controversial. There we go, that word. Thing about, and I'm one of the writers here. That just shows. Anyway, is the ending scene with the destruction of the city.
Yeah.
Which I've read up on this, and I'm not sure if you have too. I'm pretty sure you
have.
But with Zack Snyder, what he says is he always felt like in the Christopher Reeve era Superman, everything ended too shiny, too bright. There was no consequences for his action.
Right.
And he's saying that there should be consequences for his action. We need to see that there is loss of life, that he is not going to come out of this all shiny and clean and people are going to love him. That stuff is going to happen, and it's going to be out of his control. So
yeah.
I'm defending that portion. I know a lot of people are like, oh my god, this is so bad, Superman shouldn't be doing this, and blah, 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 but I stand by it, especially after the way he explained that.
Yeah, and then you let me go ahead and back this up back to a tie-in to Supergirl.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hank Henshaw doesn't like Superman. The only explanation that we have for why he doesn't like... we don't have any explanation as to why he doesn't like Superman. I could see him...
Other than he's an alien.
Other than he's an alien. Now, if they had referenced General Zod, the other Kryptonians, the fact that they tried to blow up the planet...
Yes, which it looks like what they're doing with Lex Luthor is why he hates Superman, is because of this destruction.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. It makes sense for the character, but just to have him hate Superman because... just because, he's an alien or whatever it is, just because I don't trust him or whatever.
I mean, he hasn't done anything that would make him untrustworthy. You
Exactly.
be suspicious by all means, but don't outright hate him. He could have, if he was going to do any of that, if he was going to try and take over the world, he probably would have a long time ago because he's been here for what,
Yes, he
20
says 30.
years?
Yeah, he says he was 33 years old, which a very Jesus reference, but they put a lot of those in there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they
Yeah,
say he's been there for 33 years.
yeah, and if
He brings that up when he's in the interrogation room, and he goes, "How do we know we can trust you?" He goes, "I've been here 33 years. I was born in Kansas."
yeah, if he wanted to take over the world, he would have done it a long time ago.
He could blink and take over the world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we saw that. I'm not sure how, but the Injustice universe, we saw that.
Yeah,
He goes crazy. He takes over the universe or the world and turns everybody against each other.
yeah, and people say about Superman, he doesn't kill, he doesn't, he, the whole world of cardboard and everything. This Superman has never actually had the world of cardboard thing.
Yeah,
He hasn't.
exactly.
He hasn't had a reason to tap into his full powers until General Zod shows up.
Exactly.
So he doesn't even necessarily know the full extent of his power.
Yep.
And didn't he kill General Zod in the Superman 2 as well?
I believe so. Yes. A lot of people
Mhm.
forget that. Yeah.
Yeah, he killed.
He depowered him, I think, and then killed him.
Hmm.
Yeah, a lot of people forget that, and they say that, oh my God, Superman would never do this. It's like, yeah, he did. He's done it several times in the comics. He's done it in past movies.
Yeah. And that's.
Oh, that's.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, going back to Supergirl. I like how her sister was the Pa Kent of this, might I add. Did you catch that too?
Yeah.
Where at the beginning she's like, oh no, you can't show your powers. We need to be protected. And yeah.
Even though there's absolutely no reason for that.
Yeah. Anyway, back to that. But yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, one thing I forgot that you reminded me. Clark gets a fully interactive hologram of his father,
Yeah,
that
his
can
mom-
make
and,
him a suit, and his cousin gets a flickery
gets a-
hologram.
Yeah, it's a recording.
Mm-hmm.
Which the acting on that was terrible. When she goes to reach for her face and she disappears, she starts crying. That acting was garbage on that.
Yeah. Fully interactive AI for Clark.
He can open doors and
Yep.
give people stuff, and yeah, she gets a pre-recorded message that lasts for like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess even though they left at the same time, technology wasn't right. I don't know.
Yeah. And then Alex shows up and shows her this thing that's that's an archive of her mother.
Yes, and she goes, "It's kryptonese." I'm like, how does she know that?
She was 13 years old.
I forgot about that. Yeah, I keep thinking Superman. Never mind. You are absolutely right.
Yeah.
She grew up on there.
But why? Another thing. Why do they call it kryptonese rather than Kryptonian? I've never actually heard it called kryptonese.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, you're right. It's always, yeah.
Mm. But yeah, going back to Man of Steel, they say he doesn't. They say, oh, he should have tried to get him out to a place, someplace.
If you watch carefully, he does.
Yeah, he tries.
Every time Superman takes control of the fight, that's why the Wayne Enterprise satellite gets destroyed, because he had control of that fight at that moment. He sent him into space, trying to keep him out of Metropolis. But Zod's more powerful. He's more well-trained. He brought him right back to Metropolis.
And
because he knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, and for one thing, it's not like he could have controlled where the Kryptonians put those Earth miner just blowing up things, whatever they were.
He purposely put them on opposite ends of the Earth so that way they can go through, so he had no control over that.
Right.
Of course, the one was in the middle of nowhere, but...
Oh, yeah, but still.
So my biggest... since we did that, my biggest negative about this is the writing. I'm not sure if you agree, but the dialogue in that movie was terrible.
I thought it was a little bit shaky in certain places. Like
A lot of Amy Adams lines as Lois Lane were garbage.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that she had a lot of, she certainly could have done better.
Yeah.
Certainly could have done a lot better. Or it's not like she's a bad actress.
Yeah,
It's
she's a
just
very good actress. She's an Oscar-winning actress,
yeah,
or at least an Oscar nominated like several times. She's a very good actress, but they made her lines so bad
yeah.
that at first I'm like, is she acting bad or is it the dialogue? And after I watched it a couple times, like it's the dialogue. You
Yeah.
can't do anything with it. It's flat. It's
That's the thing, is that even good actors, when presented with bad dialogue, will sometimes just go, "Yeah, I'm not putting my all into this." Have you ever played Turok, the new one?
No.
Well, Ron Perlman was in that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Everybody loves Ron Perlman.
he was Turok's sidekick.
Mm-hmm.
He is almost completely unrecognizable in that, because he was just saying and just whatever the lines were.
He's basically just phoning it in because it's so bad.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, I'll say this though, I like that Lois Lane knows who he is.
Yes, to me it always felt stupid that she wouldn't know. She's an investigative reporter. She should figure that out pretty quickly.
Investigative reporter who, by the way, also works in the same building.
Yes. And we already know that in the Man of Steel universe, she's already won a Pulitzer.
Mm-hmm.
So,
at least she's not nearly as dumb as she was in Superman Returns.
or any of the original Superman movies.
Yeah.
She doesn't figure it out till Superman 2, then she has her mind erased. And that's only because, he stepped in a fire or something in Superman 2.
Yeah, the kiss of memory erasure.
Yeah, another one of those powers that apparently they just kind of pulled out of a hat.
It was like that one comic where he went and turned into a goblin.
Yeah, they really liked that back then. I'm glad that they kind of went away from that in the Man of Steel, where they literally pulled, his powers are so undefined, they just do whatever they want with them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad they went away from that. They basically just gave him super strength, super speed, flying, and heat vision. That's about it.
Yeah, and
he can't rebuild the wall of China with his eyes.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that they, some people complain about him not necessarily knowing all of his powers.
He's never had a chance to use them before.
Yeah, I mean, he's roamed the world, certainly looking, helping people and stuff. And
yeah, but he really, from what we've seen, he didn't do much. Like, he stopped an oil well from falling, and he barely did that. He just managed to save them by not even that long, and we didn't see him do much crazy stuff. It's just basically strength stuff where he would lift something or...
Yeah, but, he has... A lot of people tend to forget that Superman's powers have changed over time.
Yeah.
Because original Golden Age comic strip Superman couldn't fly.
Yeah, he could only jump kind of far, and which is what they wanted to do for Tim Burton's Superman before it got canceled.
Yeah, I mean that sounds like it would have been pretty bad.
It does. It could have been so bad it's good. It would have been one of those movies. Nicolas Cage's Superman, yeah.
Yeah, they do this thing where he, they sort of reference him not necessarily being able to fly quite all that well, because he jumps a long ways.
The first couple of times when he doesn't really learn to fly until after he gets the suit on. I mean, we see him swim fast. We see, and even before he flies, after he gets the suit on, he has to take a couple of practice jumps, and then he can fly. Mm-hmm. And even then, he crashes a couple of times, if I remember right.
Yeah, and for some reason, that again brings us back to Supergirl. Why can't she steer correctly without a cape?
I don't know. That's what they say. Then they give some kind of stupid response where the cape adds to your aerodynamics or something.
That was it. That was word for word what it was.
And it was really bad. It's just kind of like a throwaway line that they're just kind of like, we got this.
It was like they were trying to do that no capes bit from The Incredibles, but then they just sort of failed.
Yeah. I don't understand what they were trying to do with it.
Mm-hmm. That sums it up, you know. That sums up Supergirl. I don't understand and what they were trying to do.
That really is. That should be their tagline. Maybe it'll get better. Maybe we'll try a little harder.
Yeah.
The show that has some potential, but yeah, we're not doing anything with it.
Mm-hmm. You know, something that did kind of stick out to me about Man of Steel was, who played Jonathan Kent? I can't remember who did that.
Not Russell Crowe, the other one. Kevin Costner.
Yeah, Kevin Costner. Why did he die? Why did he have to die?
In a tornado?
Yeah, in the tornado. Why did he have to die in the tornado?
I don't know. I like the Christopher Reeve one better, because Christopher Reeve taught you more of a lesson with that one. Where if you remember, he died of a heart attack in that one.
Well, yeah, that was based on the thing in the novel where the Kents were really poor, and Pa Kent was, you know, trying to lift the anvil to get the prize money, and he had a heart attack on stage.
Yeah, I like that a lot better because that one showed, because it literally shows it in the movie where he's saying over the grave, he goes, all my powers, I couldn't save him. Mm-hmm. And I like that better than him just going, no, don't save me from the tornado, don't show yourself.
You know, if they had combined that, if he had been having the heart attack in the middle of the tornado after, like...
that probably would have been a little over the top, but...
But yeah, if he'd been having the heart attack in the tornado a while after he'd saved somebody, that would have made sense. Because then, don't show yourself. It's too late. I'm dying anyways.
Which really, I think a normal human probably could have, if they were heroic enough, could have got in there and saved him. So I don't see why it would have been that big of a deal.
Oh yeah, I mean if
I had the nerves, I could have gone in there and got him out, and it really wouldn't have shown that I was superhuman.
Right.
It was far enough away. I think he would have been fine.
Yeah, he could have walked out himself at a leisurely pace.
Well, don't forget, he broke his ankle.
Well, yeah, but still.
I mean, yeah, if he didn't break his ankle, he would have just been like, and...
Yeah.
But yeah, it really would have helped with the ending, too, where, again, stuff is out of his control. If he would have died of a heart attack, it would have showed, again, that stuff is out of his control. Just like the Metropolis scene, stuff's out of his control. He can't always...
Yeah.
I'll admit, it's all better than the reversing the turn of the Earth, so...
Yeah. That's the thing about Superman, is that he accepts that certain things are out of his control, but in Supergirl, they make him practically omnipotent.
They really do.
Yeah.
Where he always knows what her next step is going to be, and he had everything planned for Jimmy Olsen to be there, so that way he knew that she would somehow use her powers and show herself. I don't know.
It's like they tried to combine Superman and Batman and, all the crazy plans from Batman and the power of Superman. But, the thing about Superman is that he accepts that there are certain things that he cannot control.
Until Lois Lane dies and he reverses time. But other than that...
Yeah.
or erases their memory.
But yeah, he accepts that there are certain things that are out of his control, and he accepts that he cannot save everyone.
Exactly.
And that's what a lot of people that complain about Man of Steel don't seem to understand, is that he knows that he cannot save everyone. He can hear almost everything on the planet.
See, I think the thing that most people don't understand about Superman is they're thinking of the Boy Scout Silver Age Superman.
Right.
Which is the all good, all kind, all knowing Superman.
Right.
Which isn't the Superman that there has been. They're thinking of the Christopher Reeve Superman.
Right.
And that was very much a product at the time. And go back to 1939 Superman, like the Action Comics Superman.
Yeah.
He is nothing like that.
Yeah, he breaks...
If you read those, he was a bit of a dick.
He flagrantly breaks the law.
Yeah, he does whatever it takes. He was like an early Batman.
Yeah.
It's just not as far.
Mm-hmm.
He did whatever it took to get it done, and that's what I think they tried to do with this, but most people think of, when they think of Superman, they think of Christopher Reeve Superman, and I think that's the problem. And they don't know enough about Superman to know that that's not his character.
Yeah. And this is like I said, this is Superman before he realized that he lives in a world of cardboard.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't know his powers. He doesn't know anything like this.
Right.
He's like we only see him use them 3 or 4 times.
Right.
He saves the bus as a kid. He saves the oil well. He just does simple stuff like that. He's never fought someone of equal strength.
Yeah.
Or greater strength, probably, because it's Zod.
Yep. And, that's the thing is that, they show that in Man of Steel, they show that Superman has limits. They show that he can't, that he cannot possibly save everyone no matter how powerful he is. And he knows that. And
exactly.
In Supergirl, they say he can literally save every single person on the face of the planet. He can be everywhere at once.
Which is physically impossible, which is why Supergirl needs to be there, which is why Batman needs to be there, which is why the Green Lantern Corps needs to be there. And that's why the Justice League was formed.
Yeah. That's the thing is that it's almost as if they were trying to cash in on Man of Steel while also trying to retaliate against Man of Steel. But the thing is that they,
you bring that up. That's very true. Yeah.
By making him this omnipotent, they make it so that you have to accept that he is a massive dick.
Mm-hmm. Like they're trying to show that, hey, this is connected because we're gonna make you believe that this is Henry Cavill's Superman. When we talk about him, he's more of the Christopher Reeve Superman.
Right.
But except he's more of a dick.
Mm-hmm.
He's just abandoning people, or abandoning his family.
Yeah.
Just here you go, here's a little girl, but I won't see you again for the next 14 years.
Mm-hmm. And it's a mistake to make Superman and that godlike. And
yeah. Because we know Superman would not even want to be that godlike.
Right. And it's at this point, Superman has become a Gary Stu. He hasn't even been fully seen on screen, and he is everything about Superman that everybody hates about Superman.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, he's gonna be the one. If they ever show him again, like in an actual battle, he's gonna be the one that's pulling random tricks out of a hat, where they just give him random powers, and he's gonna be a Deus Ex Machina machine.
Well, how much do you want to bet that Kara's not going to be able to handle the final battle against all the Kryptonians by herself? And then they're just going to throw Bizarro in there, and they're going to throw Metallo in there, or not Metallo. They're going to throw Cyborg Superman in there, and they're going to throw every single person who's as strong, every single villain, and who's as strong as Superman, and at him, and he's just going to take them all down.
So do you think Henschel's going to become Cyborg Superman, or? Oh
God, I hope not.
I don't know. The whole red tornado thing, I'm wondering about what all they're going to be doing with everything.
Mm-hmm.
That red tornado, I mean, that was like, if you guys haven't seen the concept art, like look it up right now.
Yeah.
And try not to get mad if you know the character. It is really bad. Yeah. It's like they tried to rip off Vision from the Age of Ultron, but failed. It's like a bad cosplay of Vision.
And Vision was already looking way too much like Mr. Miracle.
Mm-hmm. Like, I think he even has like a cape similar to Vision now I think about it, where it's like just a CGI shimmery cape and it's red and his face looks almost similar, and it's just... And I have a feeling they're going to mess up that character so bad.
Oh, they've already messed up. They've already messed up Superman and Kara, and...
Mm-hmm. So let's see how many more they can get.
You want to go 0 for 3.
Messed up... Well, Red Tornado is not even supposed to be a villain.
Yeah, and, another thing, since they've sort of, kind of confirmed that there are going to be Flash cross... let's just call that what it is, the DCW verse.
Or the Arrow universe.
Yeah, the Flareoverse. Yeah. Yeah, since they've sort of kind of confirmed that those guys are in the same universe, you either have to accept that Supergirl will takes place before them, or that there was something going on that was keeping Flash and the Green Arrow guys from actually showing up and helping.
Or there's a third option, which I think they might use, which is kind of cheating, is that now in the second season of Flash, they have alternate universes.
Oh, yeah.
Because now that we know that Jay Garrick exists in a different universe, maybe they'll somehow give us Supergirls in an alternate universe and Man of Steel's in an alternate universe, and then that just gets really confusing. And
yeah, that's...
It's almost as confusing as the actual comic book line right now, where they have the New 52, then they have, what's the new one?
Earth 2?
Or Convergent or whatever.
Yeah, they've got... Okay, they have Earth 1, which is the place where the main DC universe takes place on, but then you have New 52 Earth 1, but then you've also got Original Earth 1, then you have the reboot Earth 1, which is the Earth 1 comic line, and then you have the Earth 2 series.
And then you have Flashpoint, you have all those, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And, am I the only person... I just want to bring this up. Am I the only person who thinks that Alan Scott being gay is a massive cop-out?
Yeah, it really was, because didn't Marvel have a gay character first, and they introduced him right after? Said that, oh yeah, he's always been gay, but we never really...
Well, no, the thing was that Earth 2 Alan Scott was de-aged. Do you remember that his son was gay?
Was he?
Yeah.
The whole Alan Scott storyline is confusing, because he's a Green Lantern, but he's not exactly.
The power battery fell to Earth, and some tyrant got a hold of it, but they had wooden weapons back then, so blah, 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 blah. Guardians of the Universe did all this crazy stuff to his power battery.
Yeah. The whole storyline gets really confusing when you really start trying to think about it. Marvel's worse if you think about it.
But now Alan Scott is... now Alan Scott in Earth 2 is like part of the Green Lantern Corps, but they've made him gay because they erased his gay son, which why they have to erase his gay son?
Just to give us a gay superhero because, it's that time.
Yeah.
The same reason they wanted to go with a Mexican or black Spider-Man, which if they're going to do that, they might as well just call it Miles Morales, which they weren't planning on doing.
Yeah. I mean,
or they're saying they're going to make Peter Parker black, where it's like just go with the actual guy who's black, give us the actual black superhero.
Yeah, that's.
And they're trying to get the Cyborg movie out now because he just so happens to be black, and it's like, why not give us a Jon Stewart movie or?
Yeah, give us. This is the thing about, the Green Lantern movie. I've heard that was terrible, and
the Ryan Reynolds ones, yeah.
Yeah, they were literally shooting it without a script.
Because, I remember hearing that it was originally supposed to be Jon Stewart's movie.
Yeah, and they had to make up everything that they were doing on the fly, essentially, because they were shooting without a script. And, all of the Green Lanterns would be great if they could have a bunch of Green Lantern movies where they would introduce Alan Scott, introduce
Kyle Rayner, Guy Gardner, all of those guys.
Kyle Rayner, Jon Stewart, Hal Jordan.
Hopefully Simon Baz. I love Simon Baz, the new one.
Yeah. Give me a Kilowog movie, please.
All I want a Green Lantern Corps movie. I want these characters to already be established. We already know their characters.
Yeah. Develop the characters for the movies so that it's not all rushed out.
And then give us a Corps movie. Not just a Green Lantern movie, which is based off one. Give us all of them. Mm-hmm. And have us go against the Sinestro Corps. Have us go against the Reds. Have us go against the Orange or Larfleeze.
And then,
I want to see them all.
Yeah. And then build up to an
into Blackest Night. I want to build up to Blackest Night.
Oh yeah, Blackest Night was something that I thought was a really awesome concept. I got Blackest Night issue 0 at Free Comic Book Day.
Nice.
And I read that. And I thought it was an awesome concept, but I could never figure out where it was supposed to start. So
it's really confusing because it's rebooted in New 52, but there's still references to it where it's not supposed to happen, but it did. I don't know. It's confusing with Blackest Night. Because Blackest Night was like the end of the one before New 52.
Yeah, New 52 was the New 52 is weird because the Teen Titans don't exist, but they did exist, but they weren't called the Teen Titans, but they were the Teen Titans, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because
and there's like 3 different Suicide Squads in New 52.
right. And
yeah.
You know, Starfire was married to Dick Grayson, but now they're not, but but now she doesn't remember anybody, and it's all weird.
And New 52 got really confusing. Like they did like a half reboot.
Yeah, that's why I say go whole hog or nothing on reboots.
Yeah. I love what they were doing with it. Like, I love the whole Green Lantern reboot. I'm a huge Red Lantern fan, so I love that they actually gave Red Lanterns a series, which they ended, sadly. DC, bring that back, please. Red Lanterns were amazing. But, yeah.
Yeah, it's... In the end, Supergirl raises too many questions.
Yeah, it's left more than,
Mm-hmm.
And then with the whole universe building, it's confusing as all hell.
Yeah, there's no, logically speaking, there should be a Green Lantern coming around to solve these problems pretty soon, if not a whole bunch of the Corps.
Yeah, like the entire Green Lantern Corps and the Guardians should be there by now.
Yeah, I mean,
with everything that's going on with these interplanetary villains and criminals.
These guys are a Justice League level threat. I'm just gonna say that.
At least, yes.
Yeah. The Sinister Six. This is something that I said about the Amazing Spider-Man. They were making a big mistake by trying to build up to a Sinister Six movie with Spider-Man, because the Sinister Six is an Avengers level threat.
I still would love to see it, to be honest. I'm disappointed that didn't happen.
Well, yeah, I'd rather see it than not. Honestly, It's just
Well, we have that problem with the Avengers movie, or not the Avengers movies, like the opposite of the Avengers movies, the solo movies.
Mm-hmm.
Where all of these, we should have all the Avengers, except for Ant-Man.
Ant-Man
was the only one where you're like, the stakes aren't high enough where we need the Avengers, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
But like Iron Man 3, the president is about ready to be killed. He's kidnapped. Why isn't he there? Thor 2, the universe is literally about to end.
Right.
Where are the Avengers? Captain America 2, Shield's infiltrated, yeah.
Captain America, you could explain that by saying this all takes place in the same day. just like the ones leading up to Avengers all took place in the same week.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's what they said.
But just getting all that, yeah.
Yeah. The big... that somebody said a while ago that superhero movies could become the new Western.
That eventually they'll fade out, and we're already kind of getting there with that fatigue. I mean, Avengers 2 should have been amazing, and it had so much hype behind it.
Right.
And once it came out, I was kind of like, we're kind of done. I'm hoping that DC can revitalize it, because Suicide Squad and Batman vs. Superman look amazing. I'm hoping that they can revitalize it with the darker take on it.
Well, I hope that they... with Batman versus Superman, I hope they actually, they take a little bit from Frank Miller. They don't go whole hog Miller,
I want to see a whole hog Miller, except for Joker, because his Joker was bad. I mean, his Batman was amazing, probably the best Batman, but his Joker was terrible.
Well, I'm not talking about like Year One, Dark Knight Returns Batman. I'm talking about Crazy Steve from Aspar.
So yeah.
And Frank Miller didn't understand Superman, and really.
Oh man, I forgot about his Superman. But I think wasn't he the only one to really draw him right between Clark Kent and Superman? Wasn't that him that really showed the slouchiness and the whole posture change between the two?
I can't remember. Frank Miller's artwork is so bad.
Okay, then it probably wasn't him. I remember there was someone, I thought it was Frank Miller, that really did a good job of showing the two.
Yeah, somebody did it.
And it was really good, and they showed it perfectly. And like look that up if you're listening to this. That they did a good job with that. So,
what are your expectations for Batman versus Superman and the movies leading up to the Justice League?
I'm really excited for Batman versus Superman. Most people hated the casting of Ben Affleck when it happened. I was like, I'll give it a shot. And now that I'm seeing the production stills and him actually in action in the trailer, I think he's going to be amazing. Like, I'm a huge Superman fan myself. Like, I'm kind of a Batman fan. But I always thought the whole Superman-Batman thing was stupid. But after seeing this Batman in action, I really feel like he can kick Superman's ass.
Yeah.
Like, they did a good job with him.
Excuse me again. Sorry. I like Ben Affleck. I didn't think Daredevil was a terrible movie.
If it was, it wasn't his fault.
Right.
He was the best part of that movie.
I mean, who made that movie? Who made Daredevil?
I can't remember, but it was someone so bad. I think they did. I think it was the same person who did Ghost Rider. That's how bad it was.
I haven't actually seen Ghost Rider. I thought it was an awesome idea, but
yeah.
Let's go ahead and look up the Daredevil movie, because I remember whoever was.
That's what I'm doing right now.
I remember
director Mark Steven Johnson.
2003.
He's only directed 6 things. Yeah, he did Daredevil, Ghost Rider, and a couple of other movies that failed. That's about it.
Mobile site on Wikipedia. Okay.
Yeah,
20th Century Fox. They wanted to make an Elektra movie. They didn't want to make a Daredevil movie. They wanted to make an Elektra movie,
which they eventually got, and they failed on that too.
Yeah. So,
well, we know Fox's problem is meddling.
What Fox did was they forced a whole bunch of Elektra stuff into Daredevil and cut out a bunch of the good scenes.
Which is why with the Netflix series, they didn't even bring in Elektra until season 2.
Right. And in 2004, they released the R-rated director's cut, which had...
I haven't seen that one.
They added 30 minutes of footage that got cut out, not because of the Elektra plot.
Oh, God.
And they made it a lot better from what I've heard.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen it. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, but yeah, that was Fox's problem, is that they were pushing an
Elektra movie.
Yeah, they were pushing an Elektra movie, and they didn't understand what they needed to do, and it was like... And that was the entire problem with Daredevil. I like Ben Affleck as an actor, or I thought when my main problem was that they weren't going with Christian Bale.
I didn't have a problem with that. It's because I don't think the universes could have connected right.
Well, it's not like they should have connected them. It's just that if you're gonna bring anybody over from the Dark Knight trilogy, it would be him. And
Michael Caine.
Gary Oldman and Michael Caine.
Yeah. From what I've seen of Jeremy Irons, he looks great as Alfred, even though I don't quite get the age difference. That's my main thing, is he looks too young to be playing an older Batman's butler.
Well, yeah, because,
he looks like he's only 5 years older than him, if that.
Alfred's
been with the family forever.
Yeah, he is.
He raised Bruce, so I don't understand that part. He's
old enough to have been Bruce's grandfather, but he raised Bruce. But the thing is, have you ever read this this 2-issue comic series, Catwoman, Guardian of Gotham?
No, I haven't.
Okay. In that, there was a female stand-in for Alfred that was only like a couple of years older than Selena Kyle was.
Okay.
Let's just ignore the fact that it doesn't make any sense, because for some reason Two-Face is a woman in that, and the Joker has all these safety pins holding his mouth open, and Batman is a...
Well, we have New 52, where Batman or Joker's face is literally taken off and then repulsed with clips and everything.
Yeah, Bruce Wayne is a villain for some reason. He has everything. He's a homeless guy, but he has everything he did as Batman.
So they took everything and just flipped it around.
Not really, because he's a murderous psychopath.
Well, he pretty much is, so that's pretty similar.
Well, I mean, they essentially just made him into the Joker from Tim Burton's Batman.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Yeah, but yeah,
the Joker with that. But anyway, yeah.
back to the Westerns comparison, I don't think there's ever actually been a point in time where the general public completely lost faith with Westerns, and there was a massive second coming, and then they sort of lost faith with them again, and then there was a third coming.
We can blame Batman and Robin for that.
Yeah, because then we had Superman 3 and 4, which
3 was decent, 4 was absolute garbage.
I liked 3, but it wasn't.
Because it had Richard Pryor in it.
Yeah, they didn't need to do that the way they did. It would have been interesting if they had done it differently.
Yeah.
It was like they were trying to adapt the red and blue Superman plot, where he has his evil half and his regular half.
Yeah, but it was like the red kryptonite or whatever that they use on him, and
yeah. But Superman 4 ruined Superman for a while.
And that pretty much ruined superhero movies until Tim Burton made a comeback.
Because you had the combination of Superman 4, Supergirl, and
I forgot about that Supergirl movie.
And Batman Forever.
Mm-hmm.
Because Batman Forever, people defend that. I thought it was awful.
Which one was Forever? Was that the Jim Carrey one?
Yeah.
Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones? Yeah.
I mean, okay, here's...
That was the beginning of the decline. Then it really just hit rock bottom with Batman and Robin.
They're doing all these dumb jokes and stuff. Because
I felt like Jim Carrey's Riddler seemed too much like the Joker.
Yeah.
He wasn't really enough. He was just kind of funny, and he was more like Cesar Romero's Joker.
Yeah. And what's his name? Schumacher. Joel Schumacher brought in Tommy Lee Jones to play Two-Face. Mm-hmm. Even though they'd already established Billy D. Williams
as Two-Face,
Two-Face, yeah.
I mean, they kept doing that with Batman, too. It went through, 3 Batman and 4 movies.
3 Batman and 4 movies.
Yeah, 2 Michael Keaton, 1 Val Kilmer, and 1 George Clooney.
Yeah, and the thing is that, the subplot in Batman Forever of him, remembering certain things about that night, like, it was copied and pasted directly from the first movie.
Yeah.
Because that was the point in time where I said that this movie, they had the same problem with both of Schumacher's movies, Batman movies. They had a good cast and a terrible idea.
I've heard differing reports on what happened with it. I've heard that he wanted to make a series once, and the studio said, no, don't make a series.
Well,
and then I've also heard that he purposely tried to make them campy like the Adam West ones.
He definitely did to a certain extent in Batman and Robin, but
Batman and Robin you can't deny that became as campy as Adam West, if not more.
It was more so because there was absolutely zero self-awareness to Batman and Robin. Because the Adam West series knew how ridiculous it was.
With Robin's little sayings where you could just tell that. Yeah.
Yeah. But Schumacher's movies were so they were self-referential without being self-aware.
Yeah, I think you're right. Where they did all the bad puns and everything, but it was just kind of...
And they did the puns, they did the
Bat credit card.
Yeah. They did the stupid Bat gadgets and everything.
Where they had a different costume for every different thing that they had.
Mm-hmm, because...
They had special ice costumes, they had special whatever costumes.
Entirely for the toy line, by the way.
I believe that, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you had the, go up, you got Superman, you had all these, serials and things, and then it all dies down in the 50s.
Yeah, back in the 40s, we had,
40s and 50s.
George Reeves Superman.
Yeah, and then that all dies when he gets killed.
Mm-hmm. And then we had that comeback with Superman.
Then you had to come back with Superman.
What was that, 1970 something?
Yeah, that was in the 70s at some point in time. And
then that died out.
That died off
after Superman 4.
After Superman 4 and Supergirl.
And then we had the rebirth of Tim Burton.
Then you had with Tim Burton where he had Batman
with Michael Keaton.
Yeah, Batman and Batman Returns, and
then we went downhill with Batman Forever and
that's
Batman and Robin.
And the reason why they brought Schumacher in on Batman Returns was because Batman Forever was because Batman Returns didn't make quite as much money and wasn't quite as well received because it was so dark, and they wanted to bring in like a lighter version of it.
Yeah.
So that they could have more kids seeing it. And then they brought him in and it made more money, but it got worse. And then they made Batman and Robin and it got even worse.
Yeah, and then it pretty much killed not just the entire franchise, the entire genre for 10 years?
Killed the entire genre for 3 years.
Was it 3?
Mm-hmm, because then you've got X-Men comes out in 2000.
2000, yeah. Which really helped give the rebirth. And then the big one was Spider-Man 2002, where that brought everything right back.
Yeah, it said, X-Men said we can be dark, we can be, we can be gritty, but we can also be action-packed and make a lot of money and be critically acclaimed.
And then Spider-Man came out
and says we can be action-packed and somewhat silly and
still have a romance story and be a good movie.
And be a good movie.
It's a good movie. It's not just a good superhero movie. It's a good movie.
Right.
And then Spider-Man 2 came out and blew that out of the water. And then Spider-Man 3.
And then Spider-Man 3, I think Spider-Man 3 was a lot better than Spider-Man 2 because...
You think?
Yeah. Because the thing about Spider-Man 2 is that him losing his powers just kind of comes out of nowhere and doesn't...
Yeah, that's true. He just he wasn't feeling it, so he didn't have his powers. That was kind of forced in, but Doc Ock makes up for all of that.
Yeah, the general feel of Spider-Man 2 is that there's like one scene in that has any effect on Spider-Man 3 at all.
Yeah. Well, because Spider-Man 3 tried to literally rewrite everything.
Mm-hmm.
With the whole Sandman thing.
Yeah. Spider-Man 3 and X-Men 3, they both... the Spider-Man and the X-Men series both had great sequels and then terrible second sequels.
Yeah, because with X-Men, Brett Ratner took over.
Yeah, because...
And then with Spider-Man 3... the studio meddled again because that's what they like to do. Yeah, Sam Raimi didn't want to do Venom.
Right.
He hated Venom. He didn't want to do it, so the studio made him.
It should have just been like a New Goblin and a Sandman thing if they had to.
Yeah.
But Venom had no place in that story.
Yeah. You could tell that they didn't care about him.
And, but yeah, X-Men 3 was...
Where they killed everybody.
X-Men 3, where they killed everybody, he was disrespectful to the X-Men series. Because when I first saw that, it was just a month or two prior, I had watched the Phoenix Saga of the X-Men animated series.
Which is actually pretty well done.
Yeah.
For an animated series. Yeah,
so much so that they actually, it was amazing. The thing was that they spat on the X-Men series and that they went astray badly.
It was so bad they had to completely erase it from the continuity.
Right.
That and X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Well, I think that was pretty good. I think they spent the last 5 movies. I think they spent like the last 4 movies trying to make up for.
And they did a good job of it.
Yeah. But
like it takes a lot for them to go back and be like, yeah, how are we gonna make sure these movies don't exist anymore? People trust us again, and they did it.
Yeah, you got Hulk comes out, and that's terrible, and then you got Ghost Rider, and that's bad, and Daredevil, and people don't like that.
Elektra,
and it's all
Fantastic Four.
Yeah, the 2 Fantastic Four movies. He's in all this. They have all this bad stuff piling up and overwhelming the good stuff, and eventually it all just sort of comes to a head, and then they Then comes Iron Man. Then comes Hulk.
2008 Iron Man brings everything back, and
Batman Begins, and The Dark Knight,
and
all of that.
The Dark Knight, which is arguably not just one of the best superhero movies, one of the best movies.
Yeah. And Captain America.
Captain America was just kind of meh.
I thought that.
And
yeah, let me just say what I thought. I thought that was not just one of the best superhero movies I'd seen. I thought that was possibly one of the best war movies I'd seen.
I just didn't like the way they didn't utilize Red Skull and Hugo Weaving. But that's Marvel's problem, is with their villains. So
yeah, it's not like DC where they've got more villains than they need.
But I like that about DC.
Yeah.
I like the villain story, and they do their villains amazingly well. From what we've seen except for the Dark Knight Rises, I don't like their Bane. But
Dark Knight Rises was just overall kind of meh.
That's another thing, is Christopher Nolan didn't want to do it, and you can tell he didn't want to do it. It was just a half-ass movie, and
yeah, if they'd, The Dark Knight didn't need to end the way it did, because they could have just said Joker killed Dent.
Yeah, exactly. They could have.
Which is literally what he did. Joker did kill Harvey Dent.
Yeah, he did. He killed Dent and made Two-Face.
Right. And then just have...
I don't think they should have killed Two-Face, though. That's my 2 cents about that.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
they should have kept him alive. He had too short of a reign.
He definitely should have... if they were going to make a 4th movie shove Dark Knight Rises off to like the 4th or 5th movie and make the next movie about Two-Face.
The only thing I'd like about Dark Knight Rises was the Nightfall, where they did break into Batman's back.
Yeah.
That was the only thing I liked about Rises. Exactly. I hated that voice. I hated the whole... They never once brought up Venom. And how he's superpowered.
We are Venom.
They never brought any of that up, so yeah.
So he's essentially just an out-of-nowhere super mutant.
Yeah, he's just a roided-up jock, and that's about it.
And Talia al Ghul has absolutely no positive connection to Bruce Wayne.
Mm-hmm. And she's an Oscar-winning actress, and she's just kind of phoning it in. And
mm-hmm. It was like they were trying to do the Talia al Ghul plot and the Catwoman plot.
And the Nightfall's plot.
And Nightfall. And Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, they just were trying too much, and you could tell Nolan didn't care about it. Because I guess if he didn't do that, they weren't going to promote, or they weren't going to help him with Inception.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they weren't going to help him with Inception, so he's like, okay, I'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
And you get this half-assed movie.
Yeah. So, I don't think anything quite has the rebirth potential that superhero movies do, because we have
superhero movies superheroes have literally existed since forever, but we have had the comics since 1939 with Superman #1, Action Comics #1, and they have been a part of our culture since.
We had the comic strip before that.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
so these have been a part of our culture for ever since we can remember.
Yeah.
I mean, even you can count Achilles as a superhero, or Heracles as a superhero, or they are part of our culture. Yeah, so they're always going to come back.
Hercules and Heracles, that's just two different spellings of the same name, really.
Yeah, well, Greek, Roman, yeah.
Yeah.
Different translations.
Yeah.
I go by the Greek, so I say Heracles.
Yeah, I just say Hercules because that's what I grew up with.
Because of Disney, yeah.
Not Disney. I didn't watch Disney.
Oh.
Disney's Hercules until years ago.
No. But yeah, it's part of our culture, so it's always going to make a comeback. Yeah. I don't think it's going to go the way of the Western. It'll keep coming back.
And the thing is, the Western hasn't even gone away entirely either.
Because we had that Tarantino movie.
Yeah, we've got Django Unchained. We've got
Hateful Eight.
The Hateful Eight. Do you want to count Ridiculous Six?
I guess technically, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, they haven't made
Shanghai Noon.
I will say the one thing is, if superhero movies do fade out and they kind of do go the way of the Western, where they're not as prevalent where they are now, where we're getting 4 superhero movies a year at least.
Yeah.
I want creature features to take the spot, which I think we're going to start getting.
Yeah, I mean, we've got Godzilla coming around.
And now we got Godzilla versus King Kong and the King Kong movies, and yeah, so
Yeah,
yeah, I
and
think that's gonna happen.
you know, Guillermo del Toro has submitted Pacific Rim 2.
Yep, it was put on a definite hold, but he says in his mind
Hmm.
it is still happening. He's still going forward with it as much as he can.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So yeah, I think kaiju movies might be the next big thing if superhero movies do go the way of the Western, where we're only
but we
getting
know they're at least going through
yeah,
2020, and then DC still has plans because they haven't announced any of the Green Lantern stuff. They haven't announced. I'm sure we're gonna get into more major stories. I'm sure we're gonna get into the death of Superman.
yeah. I
I'm
mean,
sure we're gonna get to Doomsday.
that's another thing that I kind of worry about is like, we have almost got the best possible cast for all of these people here. We had, Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, Chris Evans as
Perfect
Captain
casting. Yeah.
America,
Chris Hemsworth as Thor.
Chris Hemsworth as Thor, Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury, Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow. And
Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye. Yeah.
Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye. And then we had Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man, and Hugh
Now we
Jack.
have Tom Holland as Spider-Man.
I don't know how good he's going to be, but
Yeah, well, I wanted Asa Butterfield.
I was pushing for either Asa Butterfield or what's his name? Him from the British guy from the Maze Runner, or what was his name?
Yeah, Thomas, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a long name. It's a three name.
Thomas Sangster.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, I saw the Maze Runner and I thought that guy can be Spider-Man.
See, I wanted my original was Ansel Igor, but when I found out he wasn't in the running, I went with Butterfield.
Yeah, but Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, Patrick Stewart heard as Magneto, and
Yep.
Ian McKellen.
Ian McKellen as Magneto. Yeah.
Patrick Stewart as Doctor or Xavier, and Ian McKellen as Magneto, and we've pretty much got like the best possible cast that we could possibly ever.
But we still keep
have.
pushing these out though. Like somehow, like we still have Chris Pratt as Star Lord, which was perfect.
I know. I'm just saying, in that, how are we going to handle recasting these roles if these things go on for?
I think we've proved with X-Men that we can do that though. When they did a soft reboot of the X-Men franchise, where we now have Michael Fassbender and with all those.
If you,
I think they proved that we can do that.
Yeah, but I'm more talking about like in con.
Oh, like for like 20 years
continuity, not like previous continuity.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Those guys were really good, but
I don't know if we'll do that anymore. You're talking about like a old Batman thing where we're from Michael Keaton to George Clooney or Val Kilmer to George Clooney, that type thing, or it's just all in the same series,
or like all in the same series. Like take redoing Rhodey, that worked, but how many times can we do that before we run out of people?
I have a feeling that we're not going to be. I think the way we're doing it is we're so caught up with people being our heroes that we're not going to recast them once the actors are done. I feel like we're not going to do anything else with them. I think Rhodey was an exception just because he wasn't a big character, and I mean,
I know that we're not going to get an Iron Man 4 unless Mel Gibson's directing it.
Well, Mel Gibson's making his comeback, so it's a possibility.
Yeah, and there have been conflicting reports as to whether Robert Downey Jr. is still going to be Iron Man.
Or Chris Evans, or if he's going to come back as Captain America, and if so, who's going to take up Captain America? Is it going to be Falcon, or is it going to be Winter Soldier?
Yeah, it would. I'd say go for Bucky if you're gonna
because that's the way the comic books go.
Don't recast the role, just succeed the character.
Well, because there's rumors that Falcon was going to take over as Captain America, which goes against the comics, because in the comics, when Captain America dies, it goes on to Bucky. Right. Bucky becomes Captain America.
And then, it should be Bucky. It should be, if Robert Downey Jr. decides to retire from the Iron Man role, which he might eventually.
Iron Man should be retired.
Iron Man should be retired. Tony Stark needs to go. So we should, give the title to Rhodey.
Yeah, that's what it looks like they're doing, is I think that they're trying not to recast roles because we're so caught up with these people being these characters that I don't think we're gonna recast. Which is why, like, when they signed Ben Affleck, they signed like a 10-movie contract or something.
And
same with Henry Cavill, as we're signing the huge contracts that they have to keep up.
Yeah, and that's what they, that is definitely what they should have done with Spider-Man, because I don't know about you, I thought that Andrew Garfield was the best possible Spider-Man we could have.
He was perfect. Like, he was signed on for at least 3 movies, but after Amazing Spider-Man 2 failed, they're like, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
So when they sold the rights to Marvel, they couldn't keep Garfield.
It wasn't like it failed, though. It made more money than X-Men 3.
But it was a critical failure.
Yeah, but they kept making movies with the same cast after X-Men 3.
No. I honestly would have loved to see what they could have done with it. I want to see a director's cut of Amazing Spider-Man 2. Because have you read the scenes that they filmed but never showed?
I've watched some of those scenes.
The ending scene with him meeting his dad was so much better than the ending scene with Rhino.
Yeah, this was...
Like, if they cut it right, Amazing Spider-Man 2 could be good. Give me an extra 45 minutes. I don't care. Give me an extra 45 minutes, an extra hour. I don't care.
Yeah.
The scenes that I have read and seen are amazing.
Yeah, I've seen some of the alternate versions of certain scenes where they actually introduce all the plot elements and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And
like I'm a huge fan of Dane DeHaan. I've loved him since Chronicle. I thought he was amazing. I thought he was a good Goblin. There are a lot more scenes with him that did not make it into the movie. And from what I've read, they sound amazing. Different transformation scenes, different ones with him and Felicia.
Yeah.
With really setting up that relationship. And that scene, I'm not sure if you know this one, after Gwen Stacy died.
Mm-hmm.
After he goes down, he flies down the glider, and Spider-Man's crying over her dead body. He just starts laughing maniacally, and Spider-Man gets up and beats him to an inch of his life. Like, I want to see that.
And that, yeah.
And those were all filmed, but they never made it because, again, studio meddling.
I mean, look at Spider-Man 1. Just for threatening Mary Jane, Peter beat the hell out of the Green Goblin.
Uh-huh. And we see that there's more of a relationship between Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy in The Amazing Spider-Man than there is with Peter Parker and Mary Jane and Spider-Man.
Right.
He stops being Spider-Man for, I don't know, the whole timeline seems to be off near the end there with that whole switching of seasons, but he stops being Spider-Man for that long because of that, and
right.
Until, depending on which version you watch, Rhino comes back or his dad comes back. Which, again, his dad coming back was the better ending.
Yeah, I'd say, I thought that the ending to Amazing Spider-Man 2 was all right, but seriously, if you're going to kill off Gwen Stacy, I'd say that Emma Stone should have gone on to play Mary Jane Watson.
I think what they were planning on doing was having her as Gwen Stacy's Spider-Girl.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if that was the official plan because she was signed on for a couple more movies.
Yeah, her contract is still on for like the next 3 movies.
Technically, so is Andrew Garfield. Andrew Garfield still has another movie.
Yeah. So God only knows what they're gonna do. Who to get around that?
See, as much as I liked him as Spider-Man, I'm kind of glad he's no longer playing Spider-Man because I think he's gonna become a great actor.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he is.
Like he's in a Scorsese movie coming out. He was just in 99 Homes with Michael Shannon, who played General Zod. Yeah, and he's a great actor. I want to see him do more serious acting, but at the same time, he was such a good Spider-Man. I want to see him as Spider-Man.
Yeah, I was desperately hoping from the time that I saw Amazing Spider-Man, and that he was not going to become the George Lazenby of Spider-Man.
I feel like he is, though. Like, like there are people who read the comics who look at him and go, "That is Spider-Man."
Yeah.
But to most people only look at the failure of the movies,
right,
and go, "Why do people like him?" But when you know the character, he nails the character perfectly.
Yeah.
I know some people say he doesn't play Peter Parker right, but somebody brought up that version of the '60s nerd doesn't really exist anymore.
No, it doesn't. I mean.
Like I always agree with that. Then when they brought that up, that nerd doesn't exist anymore, I'm like, they're kind of right.
Well,
that 1960s nerd doesn't really exist, and he plays like that kind of nerdy character that we have today.
Right. It is like as far as modern nerds go, they nailed that because,
he's a tech nerd. He's a he's an audio technical nerd. He's one of those guys. He's not like your typical, glasses wearing, just plain, always carrying your 1,000 books around. He's not that kind because those don't exist anymore.
Right. And, that's like, it was, that version was more relatable to me than the old version because, that actually is what I do,
Yeah. Like, I liked Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man, but I didn't feel like he did it right. And that's not his fault.
No.
Obviously. It's the writer's fault where they didn't understand the character.
Yeah.
But Andrew Garfield, he was everything about it, especially in costume.
Yeah. That's something that I didn't like about Spider-Man 3 is that they just Gwen Stacy out of nowhere.
Yeah. Even though Gwen Stacy's supposed to be the original girlfriend.
Yeah.
If you're going to start with Mary Jane, don't even bring up Gwen Stacy.
Right.
Unless it's in like a flashback or something from the past. Don't bring her up in a current situation.
Well, yeah, that was a failing of the Ultimate Universe. Because they put on a love triangle between...
and Harry Osborn.
Make it a love square then, because they brought Kitty Pryde into it as well.
Well, there's that whole storyline with Gwen Stacy and Harry Osborn where she had a kid or something, and I know that's a lot of people don't consider that canon, even though it is. Mm-hmm. Because it had such an outlash.
Well, that was supposed to be Peter's kids, but,
Yeah, that's why there's a lot of outlash about it.
Mm-hmm.
That whole thing got confusing quick. But yeah, it just got all confusing. And speaking of love triangle, do you know if they're going to bring Lana Lang back for the Superman series?
God, I hope not.
I mean, they made a reference to her in the first Man of Steel on the bus. Mm-hmm. I think the little girl was supposed to be Lana Lang.
Yeah, they also made a reference to somebody named Jessica Olsen.
As in Jimmy Olsen?
As in like a gender swap version of Jimmy Olsen, apparently.
But I know they've casted Jimmy Olsen for the Man of Steel universe now.
So maybe his sister. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure, and that bully is supposed to be... I'm pretty sure the bully was supposed to be somebody, too. Well, no, because we see the bully is the manager of IHOP. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there was a reference to Lana Lang in there. There's a reference to... we see Carrie Fisher, Carol Fisher from the Sapphires, the Star Sapphires. Also, Hal Jordan's girlfriend.
Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah. Man of Steel wiki, Lana Lang is a childhood friend of Clark Kent. Absolutely no references anywhere else.
Yeah, okay.
So,
I mean, there's some saying that there was a Brainiac reference. If you look on the Terraformer, it's supposed to have the 3 dots in the triangle, like Brainiac. I'm not sure if you've seen that.
I sort of remember that, yeah.
And they call the truck driver Lobo, which is supposed to be a reference to Lobo, the main man.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of references. There's Aquaman with the trident, where today's password is trident or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of references throughout, so.
Yeah, if that's something that they don't need to bring back from the old comics, is the Lana Lang.
I kind of like the Lana Lang thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that was brought up in Superman 3, right?
Or
was it 2?
It was in Superman 1.
Was it?
1978. And Lana Lang had a brief appearance in Smallville High when she was a cheerleader with a crush on Clark.
When the jock knocked over the bench that had all the football gear on it, right?
Yeah, and then
that was her.
And then she appeared again in Superman 3
when he goes to the high school reunion.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. I'm kind of hoping they bring it back because they already confirmed that the Wonder Woman romance will not be in there.
Oh, thank God. I've always thought that if you're going to make Wonder Woman and Clark's love interest, make her Lois Lane. Have Lois Lane be her secret identity, because then you just get around so many problems.
I know, I kind of like Lois Lane just being Lois Lane. I like
know.
That.
It's just, Act of God did that. JLA Act of God did that, where they pretend, Lois Lane divorced Clark, and then he got together with Wonder Woman. Frank Miller keeps trying to do that.
Frank Miller tries a lot of stuff, doesn't work.
Yeah.
I mean, he's good, but he just sometimes has his moments.
Mm-hmm.
Like his Joker moments.
Yeah. Why is Dick Grayson Joker? Why?
I hope they don't go with that whole Jason Todd thing for that theory going around. I think it's stupid.
I know.
They better not do that. If I find that out, I will walk out of the theater and never watch another DC movie.
Yeah, I mean, you could try that, but Jason Todd is best as the Red Hood.
Yep, and the Joker is the Joker. We know nothing about him.
Yeah, if you have to have a backstory, give him make him Jack Napier. Like
I don't want any backstory. That's the thing I hate about Tim Burton's Joker is that he had a backstory. I don't want him to have one because he doesn't have one. The comics have strayed away from that for 75 years.
Yeah, I mean, the Joker is better as an anomaly. Nobody knows where he came from. Nobody knows who he is. He's just...
Like, they tried it with the Killing Joke, and then at the end they're like, oh yeah, that's not true, haha.
Yeah.
Where they gave us the backstory and everything, they're like, oh yeah, he doesn't remember it right.
If I'm to have a backstory, it might as well be multiple choice.
Exactly. I love that part. It shows how insane he's gone that he can't even remember why he is him. He just is.
Yeah. The theory floating around is that Joker is Deadpool.
Deathstroke.
No. Deadpool, as in, and he has the same kind of awareness of it being a comic book.
Yeah, he's not insane. He's super sane.
Yeah, he knows that it's a comic book. He knows that his actions have absolutely no repercussions.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that one. It makes sense to me.
Yeah. I mean,
he brings up in one that I can't remember what storyline it is, but he goes, we live in a world where there are men flying around. There are international space rangers. There are men dressed as bats beating people to death in an alleyway. He goes, and we're just supposed to live our lives in ordinary lives knowing that all this is going on. That's the insane part. That's the insane thing.
Yeah. That was something that I didn't like about Heroes. I'm just going to bring this up because of Heroes. Hiro Nakamura is the only person who knows anything about superheroes, and that nobody is like, oh, hey, that thing that's been a part of popular culture for the last 100 years.
Yep, they do the same thing with zombies for some reason. World War Z is the only one to call them zombies. I never could figure that out, but anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a big problem with superhero fiction is that they pretend that superhero fiction doesn't exist, usually.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like that. I never could understand that. And like, they make references in Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man to Superman, which I like. Which is really trying to set us in our universe because, Aunt May says you're not Superman.
Yeah.
I like that. But they don't really do anything else besides that, where superheroes exist.
Have you read the movie novelization of the first Spider-Man movie?
When it first came out, I think I read the kids version because I was still pretty young. I think I was 10 when that came out.
I have the full fat book version of it.
Uh-huh.
I think that is one of the best superhero. I think that's one of the best novels that's been written in the last 15 years. Yeah, because that was extremely well written. It got around a lot of the problems that the movie had. That's the thing about the Spider-Man books in general is that they got around.
I remember they added that the webs weren't organic, where they had the web shooter like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man had. That's the thing I remember most.
In the books? No.
Yeah, really? Because that's the one I remember reading, is that it was more like he could shoot it, but it was all over the place, where he had to have something to straighten it.
Oh, maybe. I can't remember. But,
yeah.
Yeah. The thing about that was that referenced Captain America comic books, which I thought was kind of weird because his parents worked with Captain America.
Did he? Huh.
Yeah.
Everybody worked with Captain America, didn't they?
Yeah, because, he served...
The Starks, the Parkers.
Yeah, Wolverine served in the Howling Commandos at one point, I think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because we saw him in World War II, even at the beginning of Wolverine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and, but yeah, that's the thing, is that usually when superhero fiction references superhero fiction, it doesn't make any sense because it's from the same universe.
Alternate universes, alternate universes work. So
Yeah.
the same universe, it gets a little weird.
Yeah.
I know
They always,
Deadpool has. Oh, go
yeah.
ahead.
They always just reference in Marvel stuff. They reference Marvel stuff. If they have Marvel superhero comics, you know, always like Silver Surfer comics and one Silver Surfer issue, Fantastic Four stuff, you know, things
I
like that.
have a Silver Surfer Green Lantern crossover comic. I didn't even know that existed.
I think I have an issue of Superboy from the Amalgam universe kicking around somewhere. Not Superboy, Spider Boy.
Oh, nice. And then I know that, of course, one of the famous ones is a Spider-Man versus Superman.
Oh yeah, as if that's not completely mismatched.
I know, right? I know that they're each other's, token boys, but yeah, I know that that's a famous one. So we have these crossovers every once in a while. Of course, Deadpool is supposed to be an alternate Deathstroke in some universes. So yeah, like he's of course Wade Wilson, Slade Wilson.
Yeah, Deadpool is best as a comedy character, really.
He is.
Because I remember all the times they try and make him serious. It doesn't work.
That's what I was worried about. That new trailer for that came out at Comic-Con is when it first starts off, it's very serious. It's very like just a regular superhero movie.
Yeah, and then
they give you
Ryan
the
Reynolds
joke.
Says, if you're gonna give me a costume, don't make it green, or animated.
And then it just kicks off, and you're like, okay, this is Deadpool. Because that was weird. I'm like, why are they making it serious? Ryan Reynolds, this is like his passion. Why is it so serious? And then he says that, and it's just Deadpool from there on out.
Yep.
And like, oh, thank you. It was just like a by the numbers comic book movie until then.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that he does it right, which I think he has most control over it. So I'm pretty sure he's got it.
Yeah.
Because he's a major comic book fan. Like, did you know that when he was doing Green Lantern, he was the only one that caught that the oath was wrong in the original script?
Yeah, I read that.
Yeah, he was reading it. He's like, guys, this is wrong. He's like, if we don't get this right, the oath right, we are going to be crucified. We have to get this.
Yeah, it's like...
Like, how do you mess up the oath?
In brightest day, in blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Let all who worship evil's might beware my power. Green Lantern's light.
Yeah. Everybody who should know that, especially if you're writing the script for the movie. You can't mess that up.
Yeah, it's like how the Fox guys were crucified for doing what they did to the
Deadpool.
Phoenix.
Oh, Phoenix too.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Deadpool at the end of Wolverine.
Did you see the end credits scene where he got his mouth back?
Yeah, he cut the strings off. Yeah, but still, that they completely messed everything up. His powers are messed up. The whole blades are in his hand thing was weird.
Yeah, I didn't even know who Deadpool was at that point, but I thought, what the hell are they doing?
They completely ruined that. I'm glad that Ryan Reynolds is getting his second chance at that.
Certainly.
I still think he should get a second chance as Hal Jordan, because I think he is perfect for that role. And again, it was just a victim of circumstance with that movie.
But he doesn't want to do that again.
Yeah. I would have loved to see Chris Pine, but obviously he's with Wonder Woman now, so...
Yeah. I mean, if you're... do you think... Okay, I just completely lost. Who's the guy who played Star-Lord?
Chris Pratt.
Yeah. Get Chris Pratt in there as Hal Jordan.
Yeah. But the thing is, if it wasn't for Guardians of the Galaxy, none of us would have even thought of him, so...
Yeah.
Like, he was, just from Parks and Rec before that, and then he came out of nowhere.
Yeah, he's... The thing about the Lego Galaxies game, whatever it is, he is in that, as he is doing 3 different characters in that.
Himself,
He's doing the guy from the Lego movie, the guy from Jurassic World, and the guy... and Star-Lord.
in there. That's awesome. His 3 biggest roles, and it's only going to get bigger. Because there are rumors of him as Indiana Jones, which apparently now that's not happening.
Well, if he's gonna be that, make him the what's his name's character, Shia LaBeouf's character.
Yeah, there was rumors of a reboot of the series, but no, the producers came out and said that it will be a Harrison Ford. And Spielberg said it just like I think like a week ago or less. It was a Harrison Ford thing, and when he got up there, he said it'll be an honor to work with you again in Indiana 5. So yeah, it's going to be Harrison Ford again.
Cool. Speaking of Spielberg, have you read Ready Player One?
No, I haven't. I hear the movie's going to be really good, and they said it's not going to reference any of his stuff, though.
Okay, do you want me to explain why that's such a big problem to you?
Go ahead.
Okay. The main character's main mode of transportation in that is the DeLorean from Back to the Future.
Oh, yeah. And with him being the producer of that, and it's not referencing that, yep. Jeez, that is gonna... I'm looking forward to his Big Friendly Giant if he's still doing that.
Yeah. I'm just gonna look up Spielberg here. I don't think they have any Jurassic Park stuff in there, but they definitely had a major Back to the Future reference.
Jeez.
That is gonna get cut, which is not gonna be good.
Jeez, that's huge.
Mm-hmm. I think there's also... Let's see here. There's nothing really major related to Jaws or the Goonies or anything.
Well, that's good.
But there's definitely Back to the Future are in there.
Yeah, imagine with him being producer, he's still counting that as one of his works, so...
Mm-hmm. And then there's... I think there's like a couple of offhand references to Men in Black, but I'm not sure about that.
Oh yeah, I forgot he produced those too.
Mm-hmm.
Which, again, they're rebooting that series. Jeez.
Again? They are?
Yes. They're rebooting with no Will Smith.
Oh, come on.
Well, the rumor was it was going to mix over with 23 Jump Street, but now apparently that's not happening.
That's... You know... Men in Black 3 was such a rousing success.
I don't know. I've heard from actual people that it was kind of bad. That was the weakest of the bunch, and even 2 wasn't that great.
It made like $400 million at the box office. They immediately greenlit a Men in Black 4 after that.
Well, it was the most expensive movie ever made, wasn't it?
No.
It wasn't? I thought it was until...
It didn't even come close to being the most expensive movie ever made, because that's still Pirates 3, I think.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. I was thinking of the other 3. And they're expecting, I think, Batman vs. Superman to pass that. I think it's that one.
Yeah, because I'm thinking that's going to be... I'm going to put down my microphone real quick.
Go ahead.
List of the most expensive films, record holders. Okay. If you count the Hobbit trilogy as a single movie, because it was filmed back to back, I think that pretty much takes it. But hang on.
Yeah.
Most expensive. Yeah.
Because I know they spent the entire budget on one of those, as in the entire original trilogy.
Adjusted for inflation, Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides is the most expensive movie of all time. Then comes At World's End, Titanic, Spider-Man 3, Tangled, Age of Ultron, Half-Blood Prince, John Carter, Waterworld, and Ants Chest. Yeah, John Carter.
That sucks, because I know that made like nothing. It flopped.
And then Waterworld. Well, man.
I defend Waterworld still. I think it's a pretty decent film.
I've heard good things about it. I just, I didn't. Yeah, Men in Black 3 comes in at 25th.
That's still pretty high up, but...
Yeah. The Last Stand is above that.
Really?
Uh-huh.
That sucks. One of the worst ones.
Mm-hmm. Mind you all, Half-Blood, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince is above it.
Yeah, that's what, 5?
That was 6.
Was it 6? I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
There was too many.
Yeah, there were 8 of those. I pretty much say that after after the third one, they just started getting terrible.
Yeah, I watched the first 3 and about half the fourth, and then didn't watch again until the 8th one.
Yeah. 5. Have you ever read the Harry Potter books?
A long time ago. I was a kid when they first came out. I read all of them, but
I've read them on an almost a yearly basis since they came out. The thing was that they completely butchered the plot of the 5th one.
did they? I know that's why they had to split the 7th into 2 books or 2 movies.
If they simplified 4 way too much. They should have been making them into much longer movies by that point.
Yeah, I think I remember that. That's why I turned it off.
5 is about half, if not a third, of what it should have been.
Jeez.
And I didn't even watch 6 after that because I heard they cut out more than, that movie has to be at most a quarter of the intended length of the book.
Yeah, that's the only movies that I'll actually give that an easy split into 2 movies, because the books were so long. They were over 1,000 pages. Those need to be split.
Yeah.
Not like The Hobbit, where it's a 100-page book and it needs to be split into 3 movies.
Well, the thing was they added in.
Because I know most of the final battle, Bilbo's passed out and it's not explained in the novel.
They added that in because boring movie otherwise, and then they added in character development and stuff, so that would.
And then characters that weren't even in the book to begin with.
Well, they had to explain why Gandalf was disappearing, because in the book he was just disappearing.
But we could have gone without that whole storyline.
Well, he was disappearing and then Deus Ex Machina. The thing was that was all from the Silmarillion.
Yeah.
So. Do you want to go further off topic, or do you want to make another podcast?
Yeah, I was about to say we should probably end this and do another one sometime.
Yeah. So
we're so off topic.
Yeah, we started off at Supergirl and we ended at The Hobbit.
I mean, we could see how we got there, but
yeah.
I mean, hopefully next time we can have some more people and
have
more of a different opinion on stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the most we've done is, we mildly disagree on Spider-Man and mildly disagree on The Hobbit.
Yeah, that's about it. And then trash Supergirl.
Yep. So, we're going to go ahead and finish this up, and we'll see you guys. I'll try and organize another one next week. Maybe I can get another topic going. But,
yeah, we'll talk about it, see what we can get.
Yeah.
See if we can get more people, hopefully.
Yep. So, see you guys later.
All right. See you guys.